Hi guys, welcome to the live stream. I'm a little late getting going today because I ran into a few issues this morning at the house, but nothing major, so I am good to go. Yeah, it's afternoon here, Paul. It's about 10 minutes past 2 in the afternoon. Thanks for stopping by, guys. Today I thought I'd go over a couple things. Um, well, let's pop up Chrome. Um, I'm gonna go over how to create your own wallpaper using GIMP. Uh, and I'm gonna make one. This is an Ubuntu Unity 1704 install. So I'm going to create one just for this desktop. Right now I've got the standard, the stock desktop. So I'm going to go through that if you guys are interested. Right now, Alex, I'm using the straight out of the box Ubuntu icon theme. So let's see if let me pull up Tweak Tool. It's ambiance. So it's the stock ambiance theme and the Ubuntu Mono Dark icons. And so that's the combination. I didn't change anything. These are the stock themes and icons, and that's basically what I'm using. Now, I'm just going to, hey TJ, how are you? Fidel, how are you? Um, Hi Zeb, thanks guys for stopping by. Hi Herman. Okay, so I'm just going to go over how to make a wallpaper. I'm going to replace this wallpaper on my desktop, and I downloaded in my pictures folder, you'll see that I downloaded several just plain color uh, wallpapers, and I also downloaded some Ubuntu icons. Now I made sure that they have a transparent background so that I can use them when I create the wallpaper. So if I open GIMP and I'm using the one window setting, there it is. So if I open GIMP and I pull in the open as layers, and I'm gonna bring up pictures. So if I pick one of these colors, this is kind of a fabric. I've got a few like that, I think. Kind of textured. So if I pull up this clean blue fabric, that will populate into my GIMP. Hi Alberto, nice to see you. So now that I have the textured wallpaper, it's just a matter of open as layers, and I'm just going to do a simple one. I've got an Ubuntu logo. That one's a little large, 720 by 720. And then I've got a standard logos. This one here is not bad. It's 400 by 300. Let me check this one here. This one's 758 by 250. So I'll go with 400 by 300. I'm going to click open. Now you can see it positioned it right in the center. If I want to move that, I'm just going to, and I can shrink it, but it looks about the right size because I'm just going to be making a simple wallpaper. So if I click on the move, little all my little tools are here. This one is to move, and so all I have to do is slide it into position the way that I want it. So if I put it there, and you don't, once you get it the way you want it, you don't have to do anything other than file, export as. I'm going to give it a new name. So it's going to be Blue Ubuntu wallpaper. And I'm going to save that to my pictures folder. I'm going to raise the quality level to 100 and export. So that saved it just the way it is. So if I close out GIMP, I'm not going to save the changes. And now I just have to right click, change background, and I'm going to add my pictures folder. And they should all be there, and all I have to do is select the one that I made. And where is that one? There it is. So now I have a custom wallpaper with my Ubuntu logo, and because it has a transparent background, it shows as if it's right on top of the fabric. So I'll leave that alone. That one looks pretty decent. Now with Unity, you can go into your tweak tool, go to your launcher, and you can change the transparency level of the toolbar to match your wallpaper. Now I've got it to right now to the wallpaper, and I'm going to just fine tune it a little bit, and that looks about right. And so that's how I'll leave it. Now of course you could change it to a custom color, but that's how I'm going to leave it. Now one of the other things that I was planning on doing is go through a Blizzard install. Now I haven't installed BattleNet on this particular computer, although I have installed the required codecs and Wine development, which gives you it when you install. If you want to install Wine into Ubuntu or Debian, you'll want to use Wine-development. That brings in a later version of Wine, and that usually helps if you're trying to run games. So I installed all of the codecs. I've downloaded the packages that I need, and I downloaded the BattleNet installer. So I am going to, there's the BattleNet setup. So if I right click and open with other application, I'm going to find new application, and let's see, get rid of that. I'm not sure if it's going to give me my wine listing, and it's not showing my wine listing. So let's see if we can get to that wine. It's recommending Archive Manager, but of course we don't. Hi Garth, how you doing? So you're not using Unity, huh? I'm not using KDE either. Okay, so let's see if I can find wine. There's wine development, and it's asking me to install it for some reason. And I thought I did install it. Huh. I probably have to reboot, so I'm not going to be doing that. Let's see what happens if I go to, okay, so launch. I know why it's not doing anything. Yeah, I already did that, Alex. You know why? Because I have to run wine config. That's why. I forgot to run wine config. So that's the step that I missed. So it's going to go through a configuration, and once it's done, I'm going to have to do a couple more things. So once you install wine development and wine tricks, you'll want to run wine config, and that sets up wine within your system. Right now it's going through a configuration. You can see now it's popped up, and I've got wine with Windows XP. Don't have any libraries yet, because I'm going to do that with wine tricks. So I'm going to cancel that out, and my next task is wine tricks core fonts. So once you have wine development and wine tricks run or installed, then you'll want to run wine config in terminal, and then you'll need to install the core fonts through wine tricks. Now you have to do that even if you've already installed the Microsoft core fonts as part of the Ubuntu restricted extras package. This is separate. This loads right into your wine prefix. So this usually takes a little while to install because it has trouble connecting to the servers. But once it's done, yeah, Garth, I'm using 1704. And this is, of course, the Ubuntu with Unity. Now, guys, you'll just as a point of information, while this is installing, I went through, as I said yesterday, I was going to do something with that drive, that SSD that I had that had Mavericks installed on it. And what I did is I went and created a USB, and I installed Mac OS El Capitan. And so that one, once you finish the install, which I did, once you finish the install, you need to install the drivers. Now, it's not as easy as it would be on a standard Mac. I've got my Wi-Fi installed. I've got my Ethernet working. The only thing I don't have working is my graphics card, the new Pascal NVIDIA card that I installed over the weekend. I don't have that working because that's going to take a little bit of heavy lifting. Um, the drivers just came out that will enable the NVIDIA graphics card within a Hackintosh install, but they're not quite ready for prime time. And so I'm going to have to do some configuration internally. manipulate some of the files, change some configurations. So that'll take me probably a couple of hours, and I'll do that when I have a little bit more time later in the week. As of right now, it's running. It runs perfectly, except the graphics are a little choppy because it's not running off the correct driver. So we will get that straightened out. Once I get it straightened out, I'll do a video from within that Mac OS install. Hi Farron, hi Bad Wolf. Okay, so this is just about done. It's on the last, and now once the core fonts are done, I am going to install the next, which is VC Run 2015. Now you'll know if this is working right when you get your little window to pop up. And as you can see, I've got the Microsoft Visual C++ 2015. I need to agree to that and finish the install and close that up. Now that's going to finish, and I'm going to just do one more Winetricks command, and that's host. And that's a quick one. That's done. So now what I need to do is just run wineconfig again so you can see the libraries that have been installed through Winetricks. Those are the key libraries that you have to have in order to be able to run BattleNet. So everything is installed the way it needs to be. So now if I view all applications, Wine is still not there. And let me see if it'll open it. Okay, and that's not working. So we're going to have to figure this out. Now normally on all other Ubuntu distributions it will give you an option to add in a command. So let's see if we can figure it out. Well, let's open with. Okay. So I figured this out. Now, if you end up with a situation like me where you don't have, it won't give you the option through the normal window to use Wine to open this file. What you'll need to do is open a terminal. Go into the directory where your file is. So I'm gonna go into downloads, and then I'm gonna type Wine and then the name of the file. And that will do it. Okay, so I'm going to click continue, and that's the sometimes the only way to get wine running on this BattleNet, if it won't let you open the terminal directly, you can do it through through a terminal. If it won't let you open wine directly, then you can do it this way. Now, as you can see, it's asking me for an install location. You're going to take the default install location. And this should only take a minute to get this working. And while that's going on, we'll see if we can take a look at DistroWatch. Now, I noticed a new Debian edition um, has been released, and it's Debian release 15.4, and it says it's a major release with many improvements and package upgrades. And the other thing that's been released is Rosa, which I know some of you guys have tried Rosa in the past and have liked it. Okay, so let's see if we can sign in. Now the key here is whether it's going to give me my little button to click on. You see how this is spinning? Because I'm streaming, it's taking longer to give me the button to click. So we're just gonna, now it's already put the Blizzard icon on my desktop, but it just hasn't finished this sign-in procedure. Now it could be because I didn't reboot after installing. However, this should work. So we'll give it another minute or so. Does this wallpaper that I created, is it coming through on the stream okay? Yeah, Paul, I'm actually using Ubuntu Mate as my daily driver. So I understand what you mean about stability. And I've got the green on, so it looks like I've got a pretty healthy stream today. Yesterday I had some issues and it was going red on me, but I assume it's going okay. Well, this is going to take a little while longer, but that's really the whole process. Sometimes you can run into a little bit of a problem, like today with this wine installation, but other than that, with Ubuntu 16.10 and 17.04 and Arch-based distributions, this process will get you a working Blizzard install. And if this doesn't pop up in a minute or so, all I would have to do is reboot and it'll finish the installation. It could be that it just needs to reboot. But that's the whole process. It's pretty easy, especially with Ubuntu 16.10 and 17.04, and now with Arch-based distributions, Blizzard hasn't been a problem. Now that can change if Blizzard decides to make some changes to their installer, which they've done periodically in the past. But right now things appear to be pretty stable. Okay, so the the top five still hasn't changed, and I don't expect it's going to make any big moves. I'm surprised Ubuntu didn't pass Manjaro up, especially with the new 1704 release. Usually that gives Ubuntu a little bit of a boost, and I thought it was going to bounce Manjaro out of that 3 spot, but that's not the case, and that uh, could be a sign of things to come. Uh, I think if more people are using Manjaro when they want to dip their toes into the Arch pool, and as I've said in the past, Manjaro is a pretty good distribution to try to do that. It's just that you are vulnerable because of the rolling release. You just got to be careful before you do updates. You want to take a look at the Arch web page. I'll bring that up. And you want to keep an eye on recent updates and any announcements, latest news. Now, one of the things that is I'm hoping doesn't cause a problem with Linux, and as they say, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, um, is the conversion over to Wayland to replace Xorg. I'm not sure that's going to go over too well, and I'm hoping that it's a seamless transition. And I'm not sure, I haven't dug into it enough to figure out how they plan to do that, but I'm hoping that it's going to be a seamless transition so that as more and more people decide to try Linux, they're not going to run into any issues with their installations during that Wayland Xorg. I haven't played around enough with Wayland, so I mean, have you guys tried any Wayland distributions? Any distributions that are already using Wayland? I know Fedora has implemented Wayland, but there aren't very many distributions out there that are actually using Wayland to replace Xorg, and I'm not sure they're going to have an easy time when they finally do that. Yeah, Ben, I had an i3, Manjaro i3 installed, and it's so different, but it's actually pretty enjoyable. Once you get used to it, you can fly around and get things done pretty quick. Well, that's good, Farron. That means that if you didn't realize that it was Wayland, then they're doing a good job. So Wayland and NVIDIA. Now NVIDIA has said that they will support Wayland 100%. But the question is, how are the drivers going to be implemented? Will they be automatically identified during the install, or will the end user have to go hunting for drivers for their NVIDIA cards? I'm going to get involved with the Wayland situation as we go forward, just to be proactive to try to avoid any problems. So getting back to Arch, if you are going to try Arch, then you'll want to check this before you do any updates. You'll want to check this web page, the Arch Linux web page, just to see if there are any bugs being reported or any issues with any of the updates. If you do that, I think you can ward off any serious problems. Now you can see here, Mesa can now be installed side by side with NVIDIA 378. So I'm running NVIDIA 378, and I didn't realize that they had implemented Mesa side by side. So now here's another topic that's really uh, sticky: phasing out 32-bit. Uh, I don't know how much of a problem that's going to be. I know that aside from the older hardware issue, there's going to be some issues with gaming because, for example, when you set up gaming on your Linux machine, many times you'll have to create a 32-bit wine prefix. Um, Even in Play on Linux, when you install, it gives you the choice of a 32 or 64-bit wine prefix. And I'm just wondering how they're going to get around that and whether there'll be any support from the gaming community to make sure that all of the games run on 64-bit. Peter, my situation with Arch right now is this. In my uh, Linux system here, I've got the new or the first release candidate of Manjaro LXDE. I've got that running on a different partition within this same drive, and it runs fine. I haven't had any issues. So whatever issues they had that created boot problems, those have been resolved. So now it's just a matter of it, and again, I'm not running Manjaro as a daily driver. I'm running Ubuntu Mate, but at some point I might get back to running Manjaro or Arch Linux as my daily driver. But going forward, I would have to be a lot more cautious before doing updates in order to avoid major problems. So I don't want to have to fight with the system. I want the system to work for me. Yeah, Peter, I did make a video about stepping away from Arch and Manjaro, and I did that for a few weeks until I was sure that the dust had settled, and now I am just starting to get back into it. I'm more than likely going to do an Arch from scratch install uh, because I enjoy having a hand-built, so to speak, system running. So I'm going to do an Arch install from scratch, step by step, and I'm not sure what desktop environment. I may go with XFCE and add LXDE to it, so I'll have the choice of either. But now that I've got a new video card, the driver uses the driver is the same one that I was using with my old video card as far as Linux is concerned. With Windows, it's pretty much seamless also, but with a Hackintosh, it's totally different. So that's the only system that's giving me problems with my new NVIDIA video card. The frame rates for gaming are much better on this card. I had a GT 740 and I replaced it with a GTX 1050 Ti, which is really nice. Now it's a mid-priced card, but it does a really good job with gaming. So that's what I was looking for, but I didn't want to spend $300 or $400. So this one cost me, actually I got it on Amazon for 139. So that wasn't too bad. But but yeah, I'm going to be getting back into Arch. I'll probably be doing an Arch Linux install either tonight or tomorrow. So Ben, what you're trying to make your own respin? Is it going to be Ubuntu or Arch or? Yeah, see, I don't use um, System Back. I assume you guys are. I assume you guys are using System Back for your respins, and I don't really use System Back. Um, if I were to create uh, an image using System Back, I would just do it for my own use, and and that's about it. I would. It's not something I'm going to put up for download or anything like that. Yeah, there are lots of videos out there to show you how to create um, a respin on System Back. Now, yeah, there's no System Back on Manjaro, but there are ways to do it. Um, if you look on YouTube, there are some videos. I think it's ISO tools or Manjaro tools. There is a mechanism within Manjaro to create an image. So Ben, that's where you might want to start with Manjaro tools. There's some information online. Let me see if I can locate any information. Development and build tools for Manjaro. Okay, so basically, get back to that. Build Manjaro ISOs with Build ISO. So there's a wiki on the Manjaro site, and you can build your. So that might be where you want to take a look to figure out. And again, there are some videos on this on YouTube. So if you use this information, you could probably figure out how to do it within Manjaro pretty easy. Okay, Garth. Yeah, I figured it'd be pretty easy once you tackle that. So Ben, Garth could probably help you out with some information on how to build a Manjaro ISO using the Manjaro tools. Just a matter of downloading some packages. Looks pretty easy, and there's a pretty much a guide. Garth, did you use this guide? Have you tried it yet? Yeah, Matthew Moore has some good tutorials, and there are lots of good YouTube channels out there with a lot of information related to Linux. So, yeah, that might be something that I might take a look at one of these days also. And I saw that English Bob put up a couple videos today. He said he was going to take a week off and wasn't sure about whether he was going to do any videos, but I was happy to see that he put up a couple of videos, and he's going to, he says, go back to his roots doing Linux instructional videos, and he does a great job. So, Bad Wolf, the new Manjaro tools are confusing as opposed to the old ones. So the question is, are the old ones still accessible? Is sudo reboot live now? I know he did a I know he did a live chat this morning. So getting back to my install of El Capitan, basically I used the guide for 10.11, and it basically walks you through how to create a bootable USB and then how to install it. And it's pretty much step by step. If you the hardware within your machine is recognized and supported by Apple, then you won't have any issues typically. But there is a lot of fine tuning and tweaking and configuring before you actually get it working as if it was a regular Mac. So I went through that. Now, as I said, the only issue I have is my new NVIDIA Pascal graphics card. Now, as you can see, drivers were released, but the procedure, let's see, there's the buyer's guide, and I've got the GTX 1050 Ti, and let me show you the okay, so this is what you got to do, and they give you all the information, but as you can see, it's a little bit involved. You have to mount your EFI partition and then go in and edit the plist um, in order for it to recognize it properly. And this is what I'm going to be playing with over the next few days, try to get that done. Once that's done, as I said, I'll do a video from within the Mac install. Hey George, welcome aboard. So as I said, I'm going to be doing a from scratch Arch install either tonight or tomorrow, and I will live stream from that install as soon as it's up and running. I don't expect any issues because I've done it many times in the past. The last few times I used the Revenge installer, which really does a nice job. I use the Revenge installer, or I've used Arch Anywhere recently, and Feliz. You're just thinking about doing this. Oh, is your old video to build a hack still applicable? If not, could you update? Yeah, it's probably not applicable. Um, I'd have to I'd have to do an update based on a lot of the changes that have occurred. Of course, the biggest change was the implementing of Mac OS Sierra. Now, I have, interestingly, one of the reasons that I moved away from Macs as a daily driver, and I had used a Mac Mini. I bought a Mac Mini 2009. Not a Mac Mini, an iMac. I bought an iMac, a 24-inch iMac back in 2009. Really nice machine. Um, and let me pull up iMac 2009. Now mine, it actually still runs. You see this 24-inch? Okay, so this is basically the model that I have. It still works. I was able to take it apart and put in a solid state drive. So, and of course that made a world of difference. Now I didn't do that right away. I did that last year. Last year I put in a solid state drive because it was getting pretty slow, getting old, and Apple restricted me from installing OS Sierra. So when I went, I had upgraded it to El Capitan, and then they notified me when Sierra came out that I would not be able to update to Sierra. My hardware was too old. So the only thing I was able to upgrade was my RAM. I brought it up to 8 gig, and that's as much as I could put in. But what turned me off Apple products is that they don't typically now, and in the last few years they've really put the brakes on it. They don't want you upgrading anything in their computers. Really, the new iMacs, forget it. You're not going to go in there and upgrade anything. The Mac Mini, which a lot of people, up until the year 2012, the Mac Mini was user upgradable. You could go into the Mac Mini and you could put in a new hard drive. You could upgrade the RAM. And so that that basically delayed the obsolescence. But that was the last year that they allowed you to upgrade. The 2012 Mac Mini. After 2012, when they brought out a new version, they hard soldered all the components onto the PC board, making it really difficult to do any user upgrades. So that's when I said to myself, well, I think, and when I found out about Hackintosh, I said, well, I'd like to be able to use Mac software, but I want to be able to upgrade the computer component by component. And that's why I went through and I built, let's see, buyer's guide. I went through and built the custom Mac Mini and then a custom Mac MATX. And I went by the guide on this website, made sure all my hardware was compatible. Since I was building a new computer, I was able to use this guide and make sure everything would work. And once I did that, I got it working. And now it's just a matter of maintaining it. Now, this Mac Mini that I built in a very small case, the processor now, it's an i3 processor, it can't be upgraded enough to install Sierra. I am stuck on this computer. I'm stuck on El Capitan. However, on this computer, because I built it, I'm able to upgrade the CPU and get to Sierra, which is something you can't do with a traditional Apple computer. So I'm not sure if I have Gparted installed. No, I'm going to go ahead and install it. I want to show you guys something. And let's see what happened here. That's still cooking. I'll get that working. Um, so I'm going to close out this terminal and I'm going to install Gparted. Okay, so this is my 480 gig SSD that I use for Linux. And this is the drive that I installed El Capitan to this morning. So it's all installed. Then this drive is my Windows 7. And then I've got another SSD that's external just for data files. So everything's playing nice. I disconnected A and C and D. I disconnected all of those three SSDs when I installed my Mac software on B, so there wouldn't be any contamination, and everything's working fine. So I just have to tweak the video drivers and I'll have that up and running. But yeah, Garth, I'll go ahead and do an updated video on how to build a Hackintosh using the guide from this website. This is the best website to go to if you would like to look into building a Hackintosh. TonyMacX86.com. Everything you need is here. It's a tremendous website, a huge resource, and the forum is extremely active. So if you need help with installation, post-install, tools, I mean, it's got everything, all kinds of help, very easy to get help, and they'll help you out. They even have what they call golden builds. So these are people who've built a computer, a Mac computer, and they will show you by trial and error what they went through so that you don't have to go through the same issues that they found. So they kind of clean up the installation process, and it's helpful if you can find one that matches your hardware. It's very helpful because you'll have something that you can follow along with. And again, once you finish, if you build a Hackintosh, once it's up and running, nothing stops you from putting putting Linux on there, because Linux, the machines that you build to accommodate the Apple software will run Linux no problem at all. As you can see, I've got 4 or 5 distributions running on the same computer. Hi, Paul. Welcome aboard. Yeah, Garth, if you haven't gone through that building process, I think right now you can put together the Mac Mini using the buyer's guide and selecting your components from the guide. You can put together this custom Mac Mini for around, I want to say, and I haven't priced things lately, but I want to say about $400 and you'd be good to go. That includes everything: case, RAM, motherboard, because the custom Mac Mini is the lower priced version. So it's as if you were buying a Mac Mini, which, and it says it right here, it's a bare bones custom Mac in a shoebox size case. So it's a lot of fun. If you use this guide for your components and then you follow along with the build process on the other sections of the website, it should go fine. I don't think you can install Mac OS on an Acer laptop. That probably won't work. There's only one way to find out, and that is to burn the USB and pop it in. So you bought a System 76, Garth. Correct me if I'm wrong. You bought a laptop. You bought a pretty, if I remember correctly, you bought a pretty specced out laptop. Oh, you bought several recently. Oh, yeah. So you'll get a lot of benefit from this website. Now I am going to pop open the Manjaro website, and I'm going to open up the forum. Let's see what they have for current releases. Now, one of the things I found was interesting. Their basic editions were XFCE, KDE, and the Net installer. Now it's XFCE, KDE, and GNOME. So GNOME is listed now as one of their flagship releases. For community editions, they've got Cinnamon, i3, which I enjoy using it from time to time just to learn something new. LXQT, and then they've got Mate, which is really good. I've used that in the past. I've used probably all of them at one time or another. And then they've got development releases. These are older development releases, so they're really not relevant at this point because they've already released 17. So they've still got the third release candidates up. So if you go to the forum, and if you're going to use Manjaro, you'll want to visit this website. Go to the forum and go to announcements. And that's where you'll find all of the latest information on any bugs or any issues. That way you can check here before you run your updates. And this is where they had a message a few weeks ago saying, hey, you might want to hold off on the update or do it they gave instructions for doing it in terminal without Xorg in functioning. There's the Mate 17. So this is a website that you might want to take a look at if you're either thinking about using Manjaro or you're a current Manjaro user. If you don't go to the website, you might want to do that once in a while just to keep tabs on what they're doing. And you can see any announcements and driver issues, bugs. It's good information for you to be proactive rather than reactive. Yeah, see, on my system, my grub is controlled by Ubuntu Mate, and then I activate either Windows or my Mac install by going into my BIOS and changing the boot drive. So I have to go back and forth in the BIOS, but it's very easy. Just press the F12 key when I'm booting, and it gives me a list. I have not tried PC Linux OS. The only reason I haven't branched out beyond Debian, Ubuntu, Arch is because I'm very happy with the package management system. Debian package management, which is used on Ubuntu and Debian, and then the Arch package management system for Arch, Manjaro, or any Arch-based distro. So I haven't branched out into other. I've tried Fedora. I wasn't happy with it. Um, I tried Sabian. I really couldn't get into the package management. And so package management is important to me. And you end up getting comfortable and you don't want to go out of your comfort zone. So I've got enough going on and other things that I'm learning and looking into. I haven't really dedicated myself to being able to use another completely different package management system. My concern is that I won't be able to do all of the software installs that I currently do. So I would need to find equivalents um, for all of the installs, drivers, through a new package management system, which is more than I want to take on at this point. Yeah, how do you like Corora 25? I heard that Corora is a nice, easy, let's say easier way to get into Fedora. And is that true? Yeah, I'm still using Ubuntu Mate 1704 as my daily driver. Okay, so I understand. So there's a lot of software available out of the box. Well, maybe that's one thing that I should look into. That would make it a lot easier. Yeah, so there'd be a learning curve, I'm sure. Yeah, I guess once you learn the basics of the operating system and the package management system, if you transitioned through Corora, then backing into Fedora with that knowledge would probably be pretty easy. Guys, I hate to wrap this up, but I have to do a couple things, family commitments. So I'm gonna wrap up the video. I've been going for a little over an hour. I'll try to get online around the same time tomorrow afternoon. If you guys are around, feel free to pop in. It's a lot of fun for me, and hopefully you guys are getting something out of it also. So, guys, thanks for stopping by the live stream today. Please rate, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Take care.